Okay, cool.
All right.
All right, you gotta pretend we're rocking out, dude.
We are rocking out big time. Rocking out live.
Yeah, here at MWC Las Vegas 2023, and that rhymes. So I'm rapping this morning. It's crazy, right?
I love it.
It's just pure insanity. Yeah. So here we are in the big lobby, this atrium area of the West. I think this is the West Hall, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. And you can see the massive crowds here. Oh my God.
Totally.
And the guys at GSMA are going to kick my ass.
There's like there's at least 20 people at the event there. That's great, man.
Yeah. And then you know what? Here's the big news. Actually, this is the big news. You see the dome thingy back there? You know
yes.
What the hell is this thing?
That sphere that they built?
Big sphere. Yeah. Here, I'm gonna see if I can show you guys. Yeah, that thing is opening up this weekend with YouTube playing. Playing there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
That is the big news.
It is much bigger than MWC 2023, unfortunately. But
wow. Would you say?
Anyway, how are you doing?
I'm good. Is the turnout smaller this year than last year?
Yeah, notably. So I think a lot of the vendors that I talked to and the operators, they were saying, it seems a little bit lighter. In fact, some of them use the term a lot lighter.
A lot lighter.
But yeah.
That's scary.
I mean, last year it was pretty light, right?
It was light last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my head was at when thinking about whether I should go or not, because last year was kind of not that big a deal. The problem is this can have a snowball effect because, events like this are driven by the exhibitors who are paying money to be there. And if they don't see enough customers or enough stuff, then they're going to pull out and then it'll, how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for the analysts, it's okay because we get the announcements, we get these free breakfasts in the morning and,
as long as the analysts are okay, we're good.
Yeah. As long as they're okay.
This little handful of people are taken care of with this multi-million-dollar event instead of just having you guys all fly to some small office in Silicon Valley or something.
Yeah. It's just nonsense, right?
I wonder, I wonder if this is indicative at all. When we think about, we try to find signals in the economy, how well economy is doing or different sectors of the economy is doing. And, you always wonder, if the signals, obviously things were fine in Barcelona this last time we were there.
Seemed like it. Yeah. Hopefully you'll be there this year. I mean, I think this year Barcelona will be a really good one. It's just you're right. It's indicative of the industry. And I think this is a little bit expected because the operators, the big guys, with the exception of maybe T-Mobile are, ramping down their spending. So, and I think, I talked to a few folks about quote unquote 5G monetization and, they're trying, but, they've been trying for a long time. And, I don't know if they actually have new tricks that they can play to make it happen. I think they keep going back to the same playbook, right? So you have the business, these different business groups in these operator organizations doing IoT. And it's just like, look, guys, this shit kind of looks the same as what you guys did last time, and it didn't work because you didn't approach it right, and and we'll see. I mean, T-Mobile business, you have Verizon business, AT&T business. Let's see if these guys can find some game, But if they're banking on private 5G networks, it's like I was on a panel, and all I can say is people have to watch IoT Coffee Talk. We have already talked about this stuff.
Right.
We have already talked about this stuff for 3 years now, and it's documented. We have been talking about this stuff you got to watch the show. Stop watching all this other nonsense, because we keep it real, right? I mean,
absolutely.
I think, and you know what I'm starting to find is a lot of companies are valuing reality. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the fluff, you just can't sell it right now.
Right.
You can't sell BS. It just doesn't work.
You know what? There are so many interesting signals in the marketplace or in the economy, generally speaking. I went to take my car in to do a little whatever service on it at the Infinity dealership yesterday. And I'm talking to the guy in the service area there who's kind of managing me and whatever. And
he's managing you.
He's managing my car and my whatever, my oil change and whatever other BS thing they did to it. But comments from him was he was in sales and he had to go into service because he said nobody's buying any cars. In fact, he goes, not just their cars, no cars. And then he started talking about his friends who are in real estate and they're not selling anything. And it was all, you know, you hear about the high interest rates. It's like stalling a lot of purchases, or a lot of things are not happening. That obviously we just came from a world of cheap money where interest rates were close to zero, and so VCs were just flooding the market with cheap free money, and it helped. And now money's not cheap anymore, and it's having an impact on everyone, I think. It's interesting. Another interesting signal I got related to telecom and the edge specifically. So I'm a co-chair for this Connected Intelligence Council up here in the Seattle and Bellevue area, you know, which came out of our Washington IoT Council. And so all the people who are a part of that council, we had our meeting yesterday, and they're the who's in tech, and they all work for and people at particular mobile operators and others that I won't name. They said, yeah, I'm working on mech and I'm working this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm just like, well, how's that going? And they're like, well, it's been a lot of marketing and talk, but it really, you know, we made deals with different players to have our mech offering for 5G, and they go, there's no traction. It's talk, but no traction. Same with private 5G. The same people who were involved in their operator were trying to roll out private 5G. It hasn't been this big giant avalanche of customers like, oh, thank God I can get 5G in my building. Woo! They just haven't seen it. It's just, you know, there was a lot of hope, a lot of talk, a lot of whatever, and you know, and then
well, you know, I told the T-Mobile guys, it's like, you know, it's like, how much longer are you guys going to put up the same, like, you know, use cases and blah, blah, blah for every revamping of this whole 5G story? And it's like, you know, at this point, it's bullshit. So when you guys put stuff up like that, you just lose credibility. It basically means you don't know what the answer is. You're just going back to the same script. And I don't know, is the network going to save you? And you know, it's just, you know, it's just a convenient thing. It's like the boilerplate stuff. It's like, how can you keep using boilerplate perspectives, and who's feeding this stuff to you guys? You know what I'm saying? It's like none of the stuff has worked.
Right.
You know, we don't see drones everywhere. We don't have, you know, friggin' intercontinental ballistic, you know, sidewalk surgery and crap like that, robotic surgery. It's just not happening, you know? So when are you going to put something out there that actually makes sense and is thoughtful? Do you know what I'm saying? Not just some convenient, flashy BS that never worked for you to begin with. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how many times are you going to repeat this stuff?
Yeah.
You know, and especially now when no one has an appetite for stuff that doesn't deliver value. You know, and then more importantly, you know, you're not even able to deliver on that promise, right? So why do you keep putting it up there? 5G can't do that because your network can't do that. So stop showing that stuff unless you're really going to invest and getting the kind of coverage and and making these things, fantasies, quite honestly, possible, because it's just fantasy.
Yeah.
No,
you're right. You're right.
I mean, but that's the disturbing thing, is that you have pretty much all of them just going and repeating the same crap. It's like, oh, wow.
Last week, Steve Brummer and I and Bill Pugh were at that Applied Intelligence Live event in Austin.
Yeah.
It felt a little light there too.
Really?
It was light. Yeah. The expo hall was light. I talked to exhibitors. They were not happy. They're not happy because they spend a lot of money and time to go there, to sponsor, set up their gear, all that stuff, for the whole point of leads and meeting customers to do business. And it was light, and the individual session rooms that I was speaking at, and Bill, if you're on the headline stage, it seemed kind of okay, even though it's not a giant audience. If you're back in the breakout rooms, just doing the normal panels and breakout sessions, when you're in a room and there's like 10 people in there, you start to question, why did I fly to this place and spend money and time for a handful of people,
Yeah. And then they didn't even record it. So, there's no record of your magnificent panel perspective, It's like, I know.
Yeah.
It sucked.
It did suck. And so, I was like, why the hell did I fly? Why did I spend the money? It wasn't like they're paying me to come there, like other events where the speakers get paid. And so, oh gosh, all this stuff has an impact,
I know. And we just sound like such Debbie Downers. It's like sad. I feel depressed.
Well, how much longer?
That's the state.
How much longer is MWC going on for? Today, tomorrow?
Tomorrow, and then actually until Thursday.
Okay.
What is it? Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. I'm losing track of time here.
So it's almost 9 in the morning. I don't know if I expect to have a lot of people in there by 9 or not. I don't know.
Oh, what do you mean?
Where you are,
Oh,
you're
not right now. I mean,
you're at the West Hall, and it's pretty empty, but maybe people are still asleep.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know how many people go to MWC. I don't know how many people go to MWC either there or Barca or anywhere specifically for breakout sessions. I really feel like that event is more about the expo hall, all the vendors all setting up. Hall. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is much better to spend time in the exhibition halls, just because you get so much more from just talking to the real folks,
right?
Not listening to these CEO pitches and stuff that end up being, it's like, okay, you guys put out a press release, but I want to get in the dirty details. So
right.
Let's talk about that instead of all this high level stuff.
Yes.
And the hell, yeah. But yeah, you're right. But there's not much of an exhibition hall here. You can cover it in like 30 seconds almost.
Oh, that's terrifying, dude. That's so scary.
It's like last year, but a little bit lighter. So
it also is a bad view. Is so many of us were just there for CES, which was giant.
Yeah,
and so many people, hundreds of thousands of people, 4 halls plus, full of of vendors, stuff like that. We saw Blues Wireless kind of do their coming out party at CES this last time.
That was crazy.
Yeah. And so, I know my friends over at Teal are there this time, and they were,
I got to drop by. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Robbie and Rob Burt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Both of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I gotta go and say hi to them. And take
how big is this Mobile World Congress? It's just one venue, one hall, or multiple halls?
I think you're bigger than this Mobile World Congress, quite honestly, right?
Yeah.
Quite literally, and people probably don't recognize how gigantic you are, but you are much bigger than this MWC.
So you remember how we would complain about how they would always do it in LA at the downtown convention center?
I'm glad they don't do it. LA sucks, man. Yeah, it's horrible. Don't even bring it up. I mean,
that place is such a pit. It is such a horrible. But it looked more full than this place.
Oh yeah, no. Hey, we've come a long way in the wrong direction with this show.
Yeah,
but they're trying. I mean, what can you say? That's not their fault. I think it's if I think it's just vendors. Their budgets are tight.
Right.
Everyone's penny pinching right now. And they're really evaluating where they spend their marketing dollars. And you know what? This place is getting hit pretty hard. So
yeah.
But guys, I gotta take off. Have a great discussion, and
you gotta do
IoT Coffee Talk, guys. We'll see you later. And say what?
Are you about to do an analyst briefing?
No, I get breakfast, man. I'm hungry.
Oh. You didn't go to the buffet at your hotel?
Come on.
Hey,
come on.
Are they speaking?
Is this a robot bartender?
The AWS guys are kicking me out. They're not letting me in. And when Jeff Dillon finds out, he's going to freak out.
Wow.
So, let Leonard in?
There's no love for you from AWS.
I know.
Wow.
Okay.
Amazon, the last company that has any money.
I know. Well, you know what, Jeff, I love you. Okay. You're my buddy. So don't worry about it. You get a pass. I'll see you guys later. All right.
All right. Bye. Adios. Have fun. Oh my gosh. That's craziness.
I remember I went I don't know, maybe 5-7 years ago at Mobile World Congress Shanghai. Yeah, it was depressing as well. So coming from the Barcelona edition, everything looks small, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's worth it to do those events. They're so small. And so
I mean they try, right? They try to do one in each continent, or I don't know how to call it. Yeah. One in Asia, one in America, one in Europe. But it's as you mentioned, the budget of the companies, it's not unlimited. And on the other hand, if they plan to have these not side events, but these continental events for other companies that don't go to Barcelona, the main event, it's tricky because they are not that big, or they don't want to invest that much. I don't know.
It's true. Everybody's going to spend their budget for Barcelona. I wouldn't spend it for anything else, and so just seeing Leonard walk around an almost empty building is really sad. and sad for all the vendors who spent money to pay to be there, spent money to build out their stand, their booth, all their stuff there, the people they flew there, hotels, demos, all for the purpose of trying to do business, to get leads, to meet customers. And there's nobody there, or not very many people there. And so you start to rethink your priorities for your business and where you're going to spend. I mean, these are marketing events, and it's your marketing budget, sales budget. And so I'm sure it makes people rethink, if they're going to show up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's super interesting, this reflection, because and actually it's as well interesting the type of people that go to Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, which I think that it's maybe some salespeople go there, but basically I don't think it's a lot. Well, probably it's for selling products, but it's more for meeting other community members, right? And then I remember, so the audience of, for example, Embedded Wall in Nuremberg is completely different. Yeah, that it's for selling to customers or to resellers or whatever.
Right.
And there is no CXO people going to Embedded Wall. It's just sales people there selling all the time. And on the other hand, no, at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, it's just CXO people, right? Meeting other C-type people. It's interesting.
Yeah. It doesn't seem as overtly about sales, even though I do know it's about sales. I mean, yeah. Obviously some of the folks I worked with this last year in Barcelona, they had their sales team there, and you're right. They were just trying to have meetings. They're trying to show off their product. If you're doing it right, it looks like all you're doing is educating people on something, and it doesn't look like you're selling. But you hope that will turn into sales, because I certainly hear back from people that kind of like go, okay, how many qualified leads did I get from our investment in Barcelona this year? And was it worth our time to go there? And for a lot of people, it's yes. Like Steve Brummer always talks about what he likes about going to CES or going to Mobile World Congress. It kind of like, to your point about meetings, it goes, everybody that I want to meet with, which the meeting, while it can be friendly, we know each other and everything, ultimately it's about business. He's like, I would have to fly to so many different cities around the world to have these meetings, but I know that everyone's coming to Barcelona. And so I get to hit everybody all in one place, which is great. And
that's interesting. Well, you maybe my English is not good enough to understand the concept of worth your time, right?
Oh.
Maybe worth your time means that you had a lot of fun, no? And with the right people. But lately, lately I'm getting this question of what's the return of investment of going to event X or event Y? No? That it's not exactly the same if it's worth your time.
No, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Return on investment. Yeah. So I'm company X, and I'm going to spend this much money to go to Barcelona, and I hope that I'm going to get this many leads or deals done or whatever. And so for this amount of investment, I hope my return is this. If I go to like where Leonard is right now in Vegas, they're and so it will cause those people to question if it wasn't a good return on investment, they may not go next year. And especially kind of, I was like saying to Leonard, I was like, anyone who was just there in January at CES in Vegas, it's giant, like MWC Barcelona. And even though you're at a different event, you can't help but say, I'm in the same buildings, seeing similar people, and there's like nobody here. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just wait, because like CES, our friends from Ignion were there, Blues Wire, a lot of wireless and IoT players were at CES, and they had dedicated a certain hall area just for them, separate from all the other giant big companies doing their thing. And I think it worked for them. And so I'm not sure this is working for them. Yeah.
But one question as well I have been thinking lately is when 2 years ago or 3 years ago we started this IoT Coffee Talk, right? We didn't know how events would be again, right? After remote work and online meetings and online meetups and so on. So honestly, I thought that it would be more hybrid or it would change more, but actually it looks like it's exactly the same that we had before, right? What do you think?
I think you're right. It does look the same. Absolutely. And so many virtual events are still happening. I did some little, what was it called last week? Future Digital Twin, which was virtual. I was in Austin at this Applied Intelligence Live thing, and that was in person, but in between sessions I was doing there, I had to go into a hotel room and do a virtual conference. And the people who put on the virtual stuff, I'm always curious if they're making back the money they're charging $50 or whatever to get people to come watch, one day full of online speakers and panels. And so, and I didn't go to there was kind of the IoT and oil and gas conference that I usually go to in Houston, which is also in September. And I didn't go to that because I had to be somewhere else. And that event, they feel like they're doing okay with 1,000 people showing up, which seems very small. But maybe for them, it's okay. I don't know. It's a smaller venue. And maybe they get the targeted decision makers they're hoping to get. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a niche, right? You try to meet a niche where, you can find customers, providers, and all of them making business. So maybe, I can imagine that they have done the research and they see that, that makes sense for them.
Yeah. I'm excited, though, to hear about IoT Stars coming back.
So IoT Stars is coming back, and it's coming back to the old factory of Estrella Damm, to the beer brewery. So
that's awesome.
We could rent a space again after 2 years outside and testing. Actually, we did some tests. We wanted to experiment to have a venue next to the Mobile World Congress venue, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was a nice experiment, but what we learned is that people prefer to go to the city center of Barcelona instead of just walking 10 minutes. Yeah, because around the Mobile World Congress venue, it's not really very beautiful, right? So
more of a
scary.
But it's a more industrial area, and and you're right. Not very many people stay in hotels near Fibra Gran Via. They stay in the city center because the real reason they're in Barcelona is to go have fun and go to the restaurants and go to all the bars and all that. And so I totally get that. It'll be interesting to think through the kind of program you want to do this year at the brewery at Estrella Damm.
We're still thinking about the program. Do you have any recommendation, any suggestion? Anyone in the audience that is watching this video has any recommendation about the program?
I think if I compare it, like this last one we just did, I think it should be longer than this last one. This last one seemed to end short. I don't know. It felt like, it's over. You know what I mean? I don't know. I know you have time.
This was that's a very good question. That's a very good discussion, to be honest. This was done in purpose. So we wanted to do the shortest, the better, because our feeling is that people is tired and don't want to. I don't know. After being 8 hours at Mobile World Congress, I'm not sure if people want to sit down and listen more people, or they prefer to talk with and interact with other people. I had a lot of feedback that it was good length. It was about 45, 50 minutes. Some people told me I was about to get bored just at the moment that it finished. So that's perfect, right? It's like if you go to the church, you are getting bored and it's finished, right?
That's a good point.
So I don't know. We are thinking if we should disrupt the event at all and don't have any talk or any panel session or anything, but I don't know. We are still thinking.
Yeah.
If you have any crazy idea.
We have lots of crazy ideas. I mean, I was having us do our coffee talk thing on stage during the event in front of everybody is interesting, I think, and fun. I agree, especially being back at the brewery at Estrella Damm. Get there, have that first, what is it? Is it 30 minutes? Is it an hour where people are just drinking, whatever, talking?
It's about, it's 1 hour, 45 minutes, then get into a room, an auditorium.
Have the DJ. DJ was fun. And then the room is great there at Estrella Damm. And it was such a good, obviously the program used to be about startups pitching, that was the main purpose. And that was always so cool. I like that. It was exciting to see young startups, from Barcelona. We saw lots of great innovations. In fact, I would say we saw innovations, ideas in IoT very early that people still talk about today as a use case. They think it's something new. And we saw really smart, bright young people come up with really good ideas very early on at IoT Stars,
No, absolutely. That was one of the goals, right? It's to meet the IoT stars or IoT startups that would make it in the future. Yeah. And we almost get this journey done. I mean, actually, we got a startup. So one success story is that we got one startup that actually, by surprise, that I didn't expect, that won the IoT Star that year at Estrella Damm. And then they asked for sponsoring another edition. So it's like, the circle, the loop was closed.
That's awesome.
It didn't happen because it was a pandemic, but that was super interesting. On the other hand, what I discovered is that the startup application was just decreasing a lot. And I got into this point where, IoT, it's not trendy at all. No, the startups getting only into the hype, probably. Yeah, and there was not this kind of innovation on the IoT, probably as well. One of the things I think is that talent is limited, so you cannot get unlimited talent everywhere forever.
Yeah, that's true.
So instead of having like 1, 2, 3 very good startups and the others very bad or lousy, or we prefer to reduce the time of startups and focus on companies that maybe are as well a startup, right? Plus Wireless has been speaking, or others. Yeah. Are as well kind of startups or bootstrap. They are not bootstrapping, right? So I don't know.
We should make it easy for people to get more beer while they're down there at the event watching the sessions.
No, but they don't allow to drink in the auditorium. So maybe we should do more things on the brewery itself. People can drink.
But go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I just think all of us sitting together on a couch, in chairs, doing coffee talk and talking loosely, and maybe interacting with the audience, people asking questions, stuff like that, and being funny and being like we are while people are drinking, hopefully, is good. People have a good time. They learn something. It's fun. It's not boring. Because a lot of times it's inevitable at a lot of events, people who are sponsors also paid to be able to speak. And they get up there and they basically are pitching their product. And sometimes people don't like that. Sometimes it's okay. I know it's part of the game. People pay to play, right? And that will probably still happen, but trying to make that work as well as possible. Or have people not just roll their eyes going, oh, crap, another product pitch, but we have to listen to it because this guy's a sponsor or this guy's paying for the beer.
Exactly. So making an event is extremely expensive. So someone has to pay for the beer, right? If you want a limited beer, you have to accept that some advertising, it's gonna. Yeah,
you're right.
There. But I really enjoyed. So last year, we made this experiment of doing an IoT Coffee Talk, prior the real event. Yeah. And actually, some people came to me and say, Marc, but you say that the event was starting at 7. What the hell is this? So the event already started? And I was like, no, just some people has having fun with a microphone.
Right.
But people was thinking that was the IoT Stars, that you and Leonard with the microphone,
just talking
around and talking with people around the auditorium was the real event.
That's funny. But part of it could be like that. I guess if we find it interesting, because you're right. We went upstairs to that studio. I didn't even realize all that audio video gear was going to be upstairs. That was pretty impressive. I would have loved,
it's an interesting company that was selling those equipment.
Yeah, I would have loved it though if all that stuff we did upstairs was downstairs on the stage in front of everybody. That would have been amazing. I've been to events where there are a couple of guys that maybe they're podcasters or they've been online, they're very popular, and they went on a nationwide tour where they just go to different venues and they're literally up on stage and there may be 1,000 people and they're just sitting there broadcasting live what they would normally do on video and talk about the same thing and have audience interaction. And sometimes it works really well if it's interesting. It's like those two guys, the minimalists. I don't know if you ever heard of those guys. You know, the whole deal about trying to get all the extra stuff out of your life and all the junk, and like Marie Kondo. There are these two guys, the minimalists. They made a documentary about how we live for having too much stuff and buying consumer stuff. Anyway, they got really popular. They do their stuff online. They have lots of followers. And they go to events, and then they just started doing a tour where they said, what if we just did the same thing? It's just like us right now saying, what if we just did what we do now, but we go to different venues and we sit on stage and we do coffee talk, we record it, and we have audience participation and we have fun and it's light. It might work, or at least it could work for a part of the program, maybe of the slet's I don't know.
Noted. Yeah, no. One of the goals is to have IoT Coffee Talk before IoT starts, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's think on that, and let's think. I would love, that we can do an event that it's just people speaking and interacting and networking. For me, it's about that, right? It's about to meet the IoT people coming to Barcelona.
Yeah.
So it could be really interesting to have that everyone meets everyone, and we can make that happen. I don't know, but still thinking how to do it properly, and everyone is happy. I remember one year I don't know if you were there. We brought a philosopher.
I don't know. I can't remember if I remember a philosopher.
That was the first edition at Estrella Damm.
Okay.
So we had still 10 startups. That was the last one with full startups. Probably you were there, of course, and as a jury member.
Oh yeah.
So probably you missed it because you were judging the startups. But actually, after the 5 startup pitch, he was going on stage and sharing what philosophers would say about those innovations and how life could change or not.
Okay.
And I remember I got some messages like, what the fuck is this, Marc? And then I have been having fun with a lot of friends who tell me shit about that. Yeah. And after the years, they told me, wow, that was super innovative. That was disruptive. I didn't understand that, but having a philosopher talking, mixing classic philosophy or with or not with like real innovation, that was really
that's kind of cool.
I think how can we do that? How can we bring different value to people?
If you think about the time where people are standing around drinking beer, like upstairs in the brewery, maybe that other side of that room, kind of like where Ocean would be with the DJ, the turntables or music, maybe against that wall, we could set up there and have us do something live while people are standing around being able to drink beer. I don't know. Because I was definitely thinking about people love to drink. If you do something fun and light while in the area where you're allowed to drink, I don't know.
Then we have to be careful with people that get a bit tipsy, right? So
true. But
there is always someone who drinks too much.
That's true. So you're right. I was very excited to see. So I was in the UK last week. I had to go to a wedding for my wife and our niece. She got married in Exeter, England, and we go to it was like it wasn't even the rehearsal dinner. It was like the night before, and it was a really cool pub. And all of a sudden I saw Estrella Damm there to drink. I was like, yes, everyone else is drinking Guinness, but I had my favorite beer from Barcelona. So I was very happy. It was awesome. That's the best. It's such good beer. They do a great job.
Yeah, good. Yes. Look what they are making, no? Happening if just for making events at their venue.
Yeah, exactly. Well, should we shut
super
it down?
interesting and yeah, sure. But yeah, something else. It's funny that it's interesting that they are also digitalizing everything that they do. So I think that could be a super interesting success story, maybe to share at some point.
Yeah, maybe they're a good success story use case. Yes, you're right. I think that's a good idea. I never expected to see them in a small town in England.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
But actually, in the US, I have been drinking Estrella Damm as well. I remember in some bars in Manhattan, and in San Francisco as well. Yeah, but they were like bottles, not tap beer.
Not tap. Okay, I gotcha. Wow, excellent. Well, it's been another great day, another great IoT Coffee Talk. We had Leonard at Mobile World Congress in Vegas, looking for something exciting to happen. We might have to. Where are they? I think they're in Catalan is where they are. No, this has been great. I'm so looking forward to getting back to the real Mobile World Congress and IoT Stars. I think it's gonna be so much fun. That's gonna be good stuff. But anyway, thanks for joining, everybody. Hope you learned something crazy or real. I don't know. Check us out on YouTube, iotcoffeetalk.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. Listen to us while you're going for a jog or a walk or driving your car. You never know. We are out. Adios.
Adios.